All right, we have number 86, Black
Yeah, I'm about
Panther,
to get into a fight.
Buckmeister's favorite character of all time, directed by Ryan Coogler. This is the Chadwick Boseman's second appearance in the MCU after Civil War.
It's
Um,
too it's too high on this list. 86 is too high.
all right.
Again, I love this movie, but with the campaign that I'm on and everything, there's a lot of problems that come in this movie as a comic book fan.
Yep.
And some of that stuff is transferred over to audiences as well. Like if they use more of the comic book lore, the movie would look smarter as a movie. Chadwick performance is amazing. I think of the American actors, he nails the African accent the most and whatever. And the messaging of the movie is kind of all right. It's just that they make they make T'Challa very reactive, and that's a problem because he's very much being told what to do throughout the whole movie. I still think it's kind of still my favorite Marvel movie outside of Winter Soldier. It's between this and Winter Soldier. But like to put it on 86 of the greatest 100 movies of all time, I would have this at like 90. Maybe I'd move it down 10 spaces, like 96 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Favorite moment?
I never freeze. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay. Rob?
Oh God, I feel bad. I feel so fucking bad. Because first of all, number one, just so I can couch my opinion, I'm gonna say this movie is iconic and it's impactful. It showed that yes, first of all, Blade first of all showed that black people can hold a Marvel franchise. So let's before we even get there, I feel like Blade set the pathway, but Black Panther is the one that built an entire highway over it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I
Right.
mean? So I feel like Black Panther it did amazing things. Having said that, it's a little overrated. I'm not that big a fan of this movie at all. I feel like there are great scenes within the movie.
Mm.
I personally enjoy the fights between Chadwick Boseman and
Michael B.
T'Challa.
Jordan.
there we go, Michael B. Jordan. I thought that was great. I thought Michael B. Jordan pulled in a it's not his best performance. I think Creed is a better performance in my opinion. But I think it's still a good performance by Michael B. Jordan. Great performance by
Hey,
Chadwick
Auntie. Give
Chadwick.
Twana.
No, sometimes some of the linguists were all over the place.
Dog.
Like
It's
like that woman at the beginning when we get to see King T'Chaka when he's young or whatever the face and is Ungubani, and I was like, okay, you did not practice at all.
just hanging around in Cape Town for like 10 minutes, guys.
Oh,
Oh
like
my
you
god.
again, I still think this is a wonderful movie. I still think it's got a lot of rewatch ability. I just think that it was like because of where we are with this franchise, it's kind of lost some of its sheen
Mm.
because it
Mm-hmm.
was a great start,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a terrible finish if that's supposed to be where the character ends up or whatever the
Yeah.
case is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob.
Uh,
I feel like I disturbed you, man. Sorry. Please continue.
okay, I was gonna say there's some good moments in it, but I feel like this we've discussed this before. We talk about like the sum of parts make a better product. To me, I feel like the sum of parts make a worse product. There's good objects here, but the
Mm.
overall is not as good as it should be. And of course, we nowadays it's basically a film school topic talking about the problems with the graphic design of the final fight. I feel like that's almost a
Mm.
stain in the movie's history. Uh,
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
which it's kind of hard to hold for me. It's kind of hard to hold that against the movie because
mm,
of what they said when the VFX artists came out because
mm,
basically they had a crazy crunch time. Like they literally
Yeah.
had no time to actually work on the VFX. So
Mm.
it was just to me, it was more of an indictment on Marvel Studios and
mm,
their production process than it was a slight against the movie. I mean, again, if you want to hold it against the movie, you have every right. They put it in the
yeah,
movie, so
it's the
it's
end
free for
result.
critique.
Yes.
It's the end result. But I'm just saying, for me, I think the thing is, I have more issues with this as a comic book fan
Mm,
than as a moviegoer. Because
that's
like
fair.
there's critiques that came out, and I'm just like if they stuck to the lore, they could have fought back against this. Like somebody was like, if they've all got the heart-shaped herb, why aren't they just giving it to everybody? And like one of the reasons is that in the comic books, you have to be of the bloodline of Bashenga to actually take the herb. Anyone else who takes it gets a heart attack and dies. So
See
it
now
was like,
that Yeah, see that makes sense. See stuff like that makes sense because what you could do logically is you show someone else trying to take it and they drop dead, and you're like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? You could
yeah,
actually show that,
But
but they didn't.
no,
I
like
guess that
that's
it
the
should have
stuff
been
that
someone that's not from Wakanda, because I guess the Wakandans would have known that.
no, like in Wakanda, it's known, but like Killmonger in the comic books, he didn't know that. So when he
Right.
challenged T'Challa, and basically he put T'Challa in a situation where he was always going to win, because if T'Challa kills him, he's a martyr. If he loses, then he's the chieftain. T'Challa's only option was to try and get this guy to give up, and he couldn't do it. And then
Mm.
Mm.
basically he takes over, not takes over. He becomes chieftain. T'Challa's still king because those are separate things. And then what happens is that Killmonger basically passes the trials. He takes the heart shaped herb and then he dies. And then basically he gets revived again, or he close to death or dies, something like that in the comic books. And then it was saying that yeah, if you're not of the bloodline of Bashenga, you cannot take this herb. Like you have to be of the bloodline of Bashenga. So that's why in the that's why in the movies, I mean, at the time, obviously, I didn't think about it because I was just happy to see my guy on screen. But as we seen this franchise unfold, Wakanda looks dumber and dumber every movie, and it just becomes more problematic. That's why, like for me, I'm not as fervent to defend this movie as I was before because like the problems are just escalating with the franchise. But
Mm.
again, I still love this movie, but I would not have it at 86. I'd probably have it at 96.
See now that's
Um,
interesting what he just said there. It's fascinating because like I feel like Man of Steel spent more energy setting up their world
mhm.
than Black Panther did setting up its world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the effort they went into showing the world of the Kryptonians, it's all made up bullshit that's not canon. But it makes more sense than what we got in Black Panther. And what you just said right now, that sounds like Indiana Jones. Do you know what I mean? You know the first Indiana Jones movie with where the Nazis
Raiders of
take
the
the
Lost Ark.
there
Yep.
we go, where they take the thing and then they die, and then the right people. Like that's such a cool idea. What you just described there sounds so much cooler than what we got actually. I almost feel
Well, if
bad.
they actually read the comic books, but you know.
But that's my point. I feel like they I don't want to say they played it safe, but it feels like they played it safe for the investors, not
No,
the comic book
I can tell
fans.
you, I can tell you exactly why they played it safe. Because also the whole idea of opening the borders
Hmm.
in the comic books, Killmonger is actually opposed to opening the borders. He was against the idea of opening the borders. It was actually T'Challa's idea to open the borders, and then it made everybody in Wakanda upset that he was trying to share resources that belong to Wakanda. So
Wow.
that's why this movie, like the whole thing is they make T'Challa like he has to be indecisive because they feel like that's his character arc. When his character arc is supposed to be him conflicted between being a king and a superhero. Because he very much operates like a superhero and then makes everybody forget that he's a king, and then he'll switch it up on everybody and act like a king, and everybody will be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "My job. Peace out." Like one time he told the Avengers to their face, "Yeah, I was spying on you guys. I joined you guys to spy on you because you're like some of the strongest beings on the planet, and I needed to have defense mechanisms against you. Oh, you don't like that? Too bad. I'm going back to my country. Bye."
Right. Rob,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite moment?
The casino scene, the casino sequence is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I
Oh,
get it.
every breath you take is mercy from me.
Yeah, that whole thing where they're sitting, yeah, from the car with the spear. I enjoyed all of that with the thingamajiggy's gun. Just a blast, good time. Yeah, so that's my favorite part. Yeah.
And I've always had an issue with Daniel Okua's character because from what I read from the comics, first of all, he's T'Challa's best friend, and sometimes he's like in charge when T'Challa's not around. And
Yeah, Wakabi is the regent, dude. Like the thing is what they like that's the thing where I'm saying like this is where the writers kind of disappointed me because I think they just did not focus on the source material. Like they just kept they put people in places to serve specific functions for the story they were trying to tell instead of trying to adapt the source material itself.
Mm.
Like Wakabi had to be the person that was going to betray T'Challa because Killmonger needed an in into the country
Right.
type of thing. So
Right.
like they looked at the list of characters and they were like, it can't be a Dora, it can't be a this, it has to be this guy.
No,
And
but
like
why not use Winston Duke's character? What's his name again?
Mbaku, because the thing
Mbaku.
is, when they saw what his name is, they saw Man Ape and they were like, we can't do that. We have to make this guy likable. Because he also, it has to fit the narrative of we can't be using problematic names in this Black Panther movie. That's why his whole character changed.
Yeah, because for me it's like he's more loyal than Wakabi. How?
Yeah.
But
No,
anyway, I think you guys
Mbaku's whole character changed because, but anyway, yeah. Like
I
I
think you guys
said,
said everything
96.
that needs to be
Yeah.
said.
Plus extra.
I pretty much agree with what you guys said. For me, I think the best version of T'Challa and Black Panther is in Civil War. I think after that, you don't really get the best of
Well, that's because
T'Challa.
they made him comic book accurate. Not comic book accurate, but they made him closer to his comic book counterpart.
They made him a badass.
You mean in Civil War?
Definitely.
Yeah, in Civil War,
Yeah.
he's closer to his comic book counterpart because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's also things in Civil War, like the fact that he didn't kill Zemo or hit Zemo or like scratch Zemo. That was like, because Black Panther fans in the comics, every time he's met the guy who killed his father, T'Challa kills that dude. Like,
Right.
no matter what version you read, he kills him. Like, he's killed Claw at least 3 or 4 times.
Right.
He's like, why won't you stay dead? Yes, sis.
Yeah. Favorite moment of mine. What are those? Well, that's one of my favorite moments. Delete that footage. All right, but I think we said all we could here.
Yeah.
It does deserve to be on the list, but I think it's fine.
It's
at
high.
86.
It's
yeah.
high.
The VFX, yeah, were a serious problem for me. Even when I
Maybe
first
90,
saw it.
maybe 90. 86 is a bit high, I think.
It's not better than Pulp Fiction for me.
Yeah.
And it's not better than Leon the Professional. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's misplaced.